welcome back to Gonzo Builds. In this video we're going to put lipstick on a pig and give a makeover to this bar stool that was destined for the rubbish bin. We'll use a CNC to make a carving in the top which should give us somewhat of an optical illusion when we rotate and adjust the stool. First things first, let's get this old top off and see what we're working with. I scuffed the frame off camera before giving it an undercoat of primer and then multiple coats of matte black until everything was consistent. Going to be using a recycled panel from an old wardrobe, so I'm just going to cut off the ends here where you can see some visible nail holes that are a bit too large. Carved out a square relief for the base of the stool to easily align in there. It's a bit easier than doing it after the fact. I used a 1/8 inch bit for this and the cut time took approximately 45 minutes. In order to save some CNC time, I only carved about 4 or 5 millimeters deep. This way I've got a guide that I can take straight over to the bandsaw and quickly cut these circles out. In order to glue these two together, I needed to rough up the surface with a bit of sandpaper and wipe off the excess first. Now I can glue the two surfaces together and use as many clamps as possible. It's always important to get the right mixture when you're using 2-part epoxy, especially when you're mixing in extra dyes and powders and colours and things, so I recommend making a miniature mixing stick. It's the best way to get a consistent mixture. Just a piece of dowel and some offcuts, glue them together, chuck it up in a drill, and this way you'll get a more consistent mixture of the chemicals and save your arms some work. I wanted to make some footrests for the stool, so I grabbed another piece from that old wardrobe. I cut 4 sections, then I measured the width of the current footrests on the stool and then routed out a channel using the CNC for those to fit nicely. After cleaning up the outside circle there, I went ahead and put the top onto the belt sander just to try and clean up and take away a lot of the excess resin. Once the majority of the resin was removed, I switched over to an orbital sander. After sanding, I switched over to the router table to put a nice edge on the top and the bottom. And finally, we get to one of the most satisfying parts of a project, watching the wood pop with whichever finish you've decided to use. I applied multiple coats of a satin polyurethane varnish to get this to a beautiful finish. Despite giving these footrests a pressure fit, I've also added a layer of glue off camera to make sure that they stay together. And here's the finished product. I think it turned out nicely, and the visual effect on the stool with the inlaid resin turns out very nice. Thanks a lot for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and like, it really helps. I'll see you in the next one.